Good morning, everybody. Hopefully you are raring to go this Monday for the week ahead. And this morning's Career-puccino is going to be a little bit more less slides, a bit more me chatting through my LinkedIn profile, but also how you can use LinkedIn yourself. So the idea behind Career-puccino is just a quick 20-minute blast on something that I know people will find helpful as researchers. So any questions, pop in the chat as you go along, and I'm looking at the chat over there as we go along. So just any questions do ask. Hopefully you are charged with a cup of coffee. I've got a penguin mug today, a little baby penguin inside. But the idea is very much a boost to start the week. So let's get going. LinkedIn. Now, I've got some friends who absolutely swear by LinkedIn, and I've got others who really don't like it. But I think it's a brilliant tool for researchers, even if you're not job hunting, but especially if you are. It is a little bit of internet real estate that plays the Google game really well, that you can control what's on there. It's an address book that updates when your friends move house, metaphorically, which we've just had Christmas, trying to get all those little Christmas cards and all the envelopes addressed to the current address, really hard. LinkedIn, hopefully your connections update their information as and when they move job. So it's a network. It's useful for finding jobs. Yes, jobs are advertised on there, but it is so much more than that. It is a source of information. And I think people should operate, throughout their lives, but especially when they're thinking of moving on. And as a researcher, chances are there is some sort of ticking contract going on. It's very much about, right, do I think that, or do I know that? Is it a myth, or is it actually something concrete that I know all about? And LinkedIn can help you get that information. And importantly, we can get, yes, facts and figures and what companies are up to from LinkedIn, but also we can get that personal inside skinny on what something is like. So what is a job in medical writing in South Korea like? I'm trying to think of random examples. What is a job as a nuclear engineer in Canada like? There will be people who have those posts out there, and you're literally a quick search away. If you are in a research field and you're looking to move on, it may come as news to you that you won't be the first researcher who has tried to make that move. And therefore, people like yourself will have made that move. People either in your personal network or in your network's network probably have made that move, because our networks are largely people we've connected with. So they're people like us or to do with us who have gone on and done something else. So the power of your network and your network's network is amazing. We won't leap into the numbers on those because I can never keep them straight. But, you've got access to a lot of people on LinkedIn, just from your first and second connections. So the first thing that I would say is connect to pretty much everyone you know. So you don't have to accept the weird and wonderful connections that come your way that you think, I've never met this person, they're trying to sell me something. Don't have to connect to them. But I would connect to as many people as you can remember from your undergraduate degree, your master's if you've got one, your PhD, your research posts. And, kind of partly that those people in the main are people that you probably need to talk to if you're going to stay in research, but also it's thinking, it's that wider connections. They will have had friends gone on to a variety of things. And this is where the real power comes in. How do we approach someone on LinkedIn? Etiquette seems to be a mixed thing. I have a wealth of different messages usually coming into my LinkedIn. Some are very definitely trying to sell me something, but are kind of trying to hide it. Others are just simple requests from researchers. Always answer those. Always happy to. But there is an etiquette. So be polite is the first thing. The second is just click on the connect button, and don't just connect blindly. People are unlikely to connect to someone who's just, click connect on 40,000 people. Put a note. It always says, would you like to add a note? A quick note saying, this is me. I'm a researcher in whatever. I'm looking to move into your field. I'm looking for people to just give me a bit more information about what the field is like. I hope you connect. Love from Emma. Probably not love from Emma. So simple connections like that, asking for simple help. Once they've connected, you might be able to just ask them a question if you've got one, or to ask for a quick 15-minute call with them to find out what it is like to be that medical writer in South Korea or that nuclear physicist in Canada. That information really does help. One of the things that I find researchers are really, really struggle with is that almost paralysis of what to do next. Like, well, I've got a love-hate relationship with my current role, but I'm not quite sure whether I want to move on. And it can answer that, I'm not quite sure. It can provide you with that extra gut feeling, that extra information that you think, oh, actually, yes, that does sound like my type of thing. You've got a wealth of people out there to ask. I wouldn't just take one person's answer. You wouldn't plot a graph with one point, would you? But I would try and get 2 or 3 really detailed insights into that potential career. It might be that you come away and you think, nope, not doing that. Or it might be that you think that's exciting. So what should our profile look like? So we can do all the connections, we can follow companies, we can do all those sorts of things. But first and foremost, you need to make sure that your profile is look-worthy. So there's no point connecting, because the first thing they're going to do is look at your profile. So let's make sure that our profiles are singing our praises. So if I'll just get my browser up with LinkedIn on it. There we go. Right, let me share this. Okay. So here's my LinkedIn feed. Let me get rid of that for a moment and pop those messages away. There we are, all nice and tidy. So what we've got here is my LinkedIn feed. What I'm going to do is go to my profile, which is up here, view profile. Now, I'm not holding mine out as the be-all and end-all of profiles, but I have really, because this is part and parcel of my business, I have tried to learn as much as I can about LinkedIn, and then looked at quite a lot of researchers' pages in the interim. So first and foremost, nice, happy-looking head and shoulders picture. This one happens to be a professional picture. I do need it redoing because my hair has grown considerably. But somewhat recognisably you. So I've got the same glasses. Behind here, we've got a little banner picture. It's a specific number of pixels across and up. Do check that out so that you've got a nice looking thing. I've just stitched 3 of my courses together in a little JPEG and shoved those up there. Doesn't really matter what you put up there, so long as it captures the eye. The default is so very, very boring. I think they've made it that boring so that you have to change it. But just put something that captures your eye. It might be you in the lab. It might be a picture. It could be something that describes your research. So a really nice one of a DNA chain. There was a bicycle chain, which I really loved. So it was a little bit of an insight into that person. But it just needs to be eye-catching. You want people to dwell on your page once they've got here. So if it's eye-catching picture, we love pictures as humans. Your name is your name, but underneath this bit here is your little headline. Now, quite often researchers just put Research Associate University of X. Now, the University of X, it probably does lots of different types of research. So you could be a medieval historian, you could be that nuclear physicist, you could be a cancer biologist, you could be anything. It doesn't tell me anything other than you're a researcher. So give me a flavour of the type of researcher you are. So if you're a medieval historian, say medieval historian interested in whatever medieval historians are interested in. I've got STEM research development, which is largely what I do, online courses, virtual live training, blended learning development. Trust me, I'm a physicist. So a little bit of my slightly quirky sense of humour in that. I've used those little pipe things to divide it up. Some people use stars, but you can actually have, almost a sentence worth of stuff, and that follows you around the site. So people instantly know, right, you're a cancer biologist interested in. So do make sure that you've used that headline, because that is the bit of real estate that follows you around the site whenever you do it. You've then got contact info, which I will pull up. I'm not sure that's going to work on Zoom, but if you click on contact info, you have your LinkedIn profile, you have a choice of websites, you have up to three websites, an email, and I think you can put Twitter on there if you want to as well. So thinking about, you might have an institutional website, you might have a personal website, or you might have a URL that points at something else. So it might be your fantastic paper, it might be a GitHub resource, it could be all sorts of things. You've got 3 hits to do different websites, or it could be different pages on the same website. Now, people may or may not click on there, but if they do, they can find out more about you. You've got your followers and your connections here, and it pops up what you've most recently done and also where you've been educated at the top. Now, that's the very basics. You definitely need all those things. Under that, if I scroll down, obviously it's looking at me as as my own profile, but underneath somewhere we have got an about section, which is the next section on yours. Quite often people don't fill this in, or it's very brief. This about section should be written with a view to a future employer. That's what they want to see. Yes, other people might read it, but you want to attract potential future employers. So mine is addressed to future clients, potential clients. It's not very long, and white space is your friend. Some people just put in a block of text. No one likes a wall of text. It's Monday, they like bullet points. It's quick, scan through. Now, it won't let you do a lot of formatting, but you can do some basic cut and paste from Word or something. So I've managed to get these speech bubbles, and I've got this in here. But make sure that about section says something about you. It introduces your passion. Underneath here, you've got everything you've ever done in your entire life, in your experience section. So that's your CV. Do make sure that you fill that out. You can also put some more details on there. So it doesn't have to just be a simple just a simple title. You can put in some more flesh on those bones. But the about section is where you really come across as a human. Okay. Other things that you can put on, they've got licenses, certifications, volunteering, all sorts of things, testimonials, organisations. And then interestingly down here, interests, so things that you are following. So companies that you're following. I think if we look at mine, they're probably a big mixture of all sorts of things that you might expect. And various other groups. Schools is universities in my language. Okay. So get your profile right before you go fishing. You then have options of to search. So let's take medical writing for an example. So I'm going to pop that in. So I've got people who say that they're a medical writer that I could connect with. If I click on connect, it pulls up a window that says add note. That's the bit where you say, I'd love to connect. And if you've got chance, for a quick conversation, it would be amazing. It doesn't let you do a massively long note, but everything that they want to find out about you should be on your profile. So we've got some medical writing people in there. I could look at people from my search, companies, and again, this can be a fantastic way of finding out more information. So we can follow these companies, but we can also perhaps click on, which one should we pick on? Medical Writing Limited. I'm picking on that one because it's Chalfont-Peter, Buckinghamshire, which is very close to where I went to school. So I'm picking that one. So one person from your school, as in university, works here. It's got 8 employees. So we could look at the people on there. And so, again, we've got a choice of people to look at. We can look at where they studied. So we've got a big variety of where they've studied, actually, and where they live. So, interestingly, one in Egypt. And we can look at jobs, obviously. But the thing that researchers tend to do is to look at the jobs pages, and that's it. But actually, your next position will come from your network, and that's what LinkedIn is. It's a good way of collating your network. So making sure that you're using this as cunningly as possible. If you've got, if we've looked at people who work here, then it might be that you want to approach them and see, kind of interested, or we can look at their website and we can approach them that way. It's a good way of finding different types of companies, following those companies, seeing what's up with them. The other thing that I think you need to do on LinkedIn is take part. Now, LinkedIn, thankfully, is lazy person social media. So unlike Instagram, where you have to take a picture every 40 seconds to make sure you're up there, I think if you interacted once a week, posted something once a week, liked things, commented on things, LinkedIn really does like comments on people's things. If you do all that once a week, so go in, spend 20 minutes on LinkedIn, update your network about what you're up to. It doesn't have to be earth-shattering. Then the algorithm kind of thinks, okay, this person is active. There is a lot of deadwood on LinkedIn. So this person is active, and therefore I'm going to start coming up in searches. The bots that crawl around looking for people like yourselves are going to pick up those keywords that you put in your about section and in your headline and going, oh, okay, you might be interested in this, this, and this. Sometimes LinkedIn gets it wrong. I have had personal trainer, as in weight training type adverts. I'm not that sort of trainer. But I think it's a fantastic tool. I'm going to have, where would you put awarded grants in the profile? If so, where? Now, that is a really good question, Esther. So let's have a look. We'll go back to my profile for a minute. View profile. So let's scooch down here. Licenses. There is publications, projects. You could put it under projects. I'm just wondering, here we are, add. There was a button which said add to profile section. I'm just having a look at what else we could put in there. Add skills, recommended. You could put it in as featured, Esther, because it says add featured. And courses, recommendations, additional. Under additional, you have a choice of volunteer experience, which we've got publications, patents, projects, honours and awards. Actually, that would probably work quite well in there because you have had an award, you had money. And especially if you use the award section for just your grants, it's very obvious then to someone who's got that. You've then got, causes, organisations, probably honours and awards, or putting it in as a sort of featured thing. So if it's a latest grant, don't forget that when you get these awards and various other things, to make sure that they go on there. You can put it in as an update, but also make sure that it's on the timeline, as it were. That's a really great question now. Other things that you can do, which I just remembered, on your featured, you can have these little links to various things. So I've got links to my courses. I've picked 3 because 3 displays it really nicely, and then you get the little words underneath. If you do more, you lose those. So have a play and see what showcases you best. But it might be that you could perhaps feature, put the featured grant on there. So, you could talk a little bit about what you're going to do on that grant, or you could point to the EPSRC page or wherever it is that you've got it from, Esther. Hope that answers that question. Great question. Okay, so any other questions, my lovelies? I'm going to have a slurp of coffee. Wow. Okay, if there are no other questions, if I'm not linked into you, I am always happy to link in to a researcher. And if you want me to look at your profile, I can. There are some fantastic profiles out there. So the other thing that I would say is go and have a look at other researchers like yourselves and cherry pick good practice. Assimilate practice, not copying, it's assimilating. Okay, my lovelies. If there are no further questions, I will stop there. Thank you for joining me this morning. Have a fantastic week. Do use LinkedIn. See if you can think about putting one post on this week. That's a very simple 20-minute job, but it will help you build up in the rankings. Otherwise, have a fantastic week, and I will see you soon. Thanks, everyone.